The following video contains themes of death and bereavement in relation to children and young people. Caution is advised as the content might be upsetting to some viewers. Explaining death to a child. This video contains advice for adults to help them explain the concept of death to children of various ages. Death can be a confusing concept to children and young people, and the language you use to explain it can have a large impact on how it is understood. It is important when talking about death that you use simple, direct words like dead and died, instead of phrases like lost someone or gone to sleep. Phrases like this can sometimes confuse children. Remember, lost things can be found, and sleeping people wake up. A child's understanding of death changes as they get older. Young children below the age of 2 have no understanding of death, but will notice that the person is no longer there and experience a feeling of separation. Between the ages of 3 and 5, children begin to understand death more, but can often see it as temporary and reversible. At this age, they might think the person who has died still has feelings and bodily functions. By the time most children reach the ages of 6 and 9, children start to understand that death is irreversible, and they may also begin to fear death because of this. And then from the age of about 10, children will start understanding that death can happen to anybody at any age. From adolescence onwards, most young people will have a concrete understanding of death and might adhere to more of the taboos associated with death than younger children would. Please see our video, How a Child May Grieve, for more information about how age and stage of development can impact a child's understanding of death. It can be helpful to explain what happens to someone when they die. Use simple language to make the concept of death easier to understand for your child. You might say something like, when someone has died, it means that their body doesn't work anymore. They can't see, hear, or breathe anymore, and they can't feel anything.
I need to see my mum. I need to be sure she died. I'll never believe it if I don't see her for myself. I need to say goodbye.
Some children and young people may want to see the body after the person has died to help them understand and come to terms with the death and what it means. Adults sometimes want to protect their children from viewing the body, in case it is too difficult for them. However, it is important to remember that a child's imagination is often worse than reality. It can be helpful to offer your child the choice of whether they'd like to view the body. If they decide to go, you can prepare them by explaining that their person might not look exactly as they did when they were alive. You can say something like, Grandpa might look a bit different when you see him. He won't be able to move or talk, and if you touch him, then his skin will feel cold. He might smell different to when he was alive as well. If the person has marks caused by injury or illness, it is helpful to explain what those will look like as well. When explaining death to a child or young person, be prepared to face a lot of questions as they try to understand what death is and how it affects them. You may find yourself having to repeat what you have said multiple times. It is important to be honest when discussing death. Try to keep your explanation consistent to avoid confusion, and be patient with children and young people as they come to terms with what has happened. Not every child or young person who grieves will need bereavement support, but Richmond's Hope is here for the ones who do. Please get in touch if you would like more information or advice, or to refer a child or young person.